All right, let's keep taking calls. The lines are packed, Pat. Pat is going crazy over there because we've got 11 lines
Can barely
filled
handle
right
it.
now. Pat can barely contain himself. 617-830-4750. Let's take our next caller from the 585 area code. I have a suspicion about who this might be, and it would be very exciting if it is indeed who I think it might be. Caller from 585, name and where you're calling from.
Christopher Henley from Rochester, New York.
Oh, all right, Christopher. Listen, it's great to hear from you. The Eggman
Sorry
call.
to disappoint
The,
you,
the
David.
Eggman calls in from the same area code. The Eggman is in the same part of the country as you, but it's not the Eggman. But this is just as good. This is just as good. What's on your mind today?
Milo, the immigration issue, multiple things, but number one, I just want to. I found you about a year ago, and on YouTube by accident, and I have never found somebody to be more thoughtful. Your ideas and you take on issues, and it's not just issues that you agree with; it's issues that you care about and you have an opinion about. That makes the discussion so much better and entertaining at times as well. So
At times entertaining. I like
that. I can't imagine. Well, because you have a sense of humor about things, and
Yeah.
it's not about it's you don't take enjoyment in the misery of others. You take this kind of like an older brother to the son, or the younger one who says, you may want to think about this a different way because these are the consequences of that thought process. So when you engage people who you disagree with, you don't come across as I'm bullying you.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. All right, so I'd love to answer a question if you have one.
Sure. What do you make of the Milo situation with regards to the fact that his history of being sexually abused and then actually becoming the abuser later, not sexually, but with regards to how he has been handling immigrants and handling other folks, especially in the trans community, even on the Bill Maher show? And does this belie something even deeper within some in the conservative movement where they just kind of hoist the guy up and give him lots of fame and fortune and then tear him down?
Well, listen, I mean, everybody, victims of abuse are impacted by the abuse in different ways. The reality is that there are many Republicans who, statistically speaking, were not abused in the way that Milo Yiannopoulos has talked about having been abused by a Catholic priest, who have very similar views about immigrants or the transgender community or whatever. So just because one is abused as a child doesn't mean that then they are going to have particular views towards other groups of people. And not everybody who has those views has them because, or at least in correlation with having been abused. For me, the most interesting aspect of the Milo debacle, which has now happened, I won't rehash it all now because we've talked about it so many times, but the most interesting thing to me is Milo Yiannopoulos, one of his big things has been he's against identity politics the way that the left does identity politics as he perceives it. And many on the right, including the alt-right and in other areas of the right, are against identity politics. Yet the only reason Milo Yiannopoulos became popular is because of his identity as the gay man who has these views, because nothing about his views is particularly unique or interesting. It's a British guy who is commenting in a conservative way, aggressively so, about American politics and about some broader issues that go beyond American politics. If it were not for his identity, why would he be interested? Why would he be interesting to the right? So it's very interesting to me that because of the identity politics backfire, this entire thing has sort of blown up in their faces.
Yeah, I mean, in spite of his wearing a nice set of pearls, when we saw him on Bill Maher's show, it's also about the level of anger and hatred. They don't see that what you do over here has profound ripple effects across the pond, so to speak. And it's frightening from the immigration standpoint, where so many folks who come to this, my great grandparents made their way from Ireland, and guess what? They lied, cheated, steal their way to get down from Ireland over to Canada, made their way into New York, worked as tailors, worked in bars, and they were illegal. And then eventually, somehow, some along the way, they became legalized.
Yep.
And I find it astounding. Like, I'm getting ready for St. Patrick's Day parade, and when I hear folks from the Hibernians, and they go, we got to stamp out this illegal immigration, I'm looking around and going, do any of you realize, do you remember your grandfathers and your great-grandfathers who came over because of a famine?
Yep, absolutely, absolutely great point. Could not have said it better myself. I've got to run. Thank you so much for the call. Really, really appreciate it. Hope to talk to you again. Very, very much appreciated.